Alright guys, the open social graph is the structure that emerges when you combine all your profiles, relations and connections. Contrary to the social graph on other popular platforms, on Mercury you are in control over who gets to see and use your social graph. You can even take all your social data from one platform to the next without losing any of your contacts, pictures or other data. Have fun and leave us a comment.
A graph is basically a data structure that represents a set of objects that have relationships to each other, and it codifies that in some way. So it's primarily defined in graph theory by nodes and edges, which are effectively a relationship. So it defines a relationship between this node and that node. Now a social graph is essentially just a graph that describes human relationships. So when you follow somebody or you like somebody on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, what you're doing is establishing one of those edges in that graph. So all of the big companies that have social networks, and some that don't really even have what you would call a social network, like Microsoft, have huge graph databases that they expose through APIs for developers. So this is an attempt to take the idea of a social graph and try to apply it to a decentralized solution, in particular Mercury. So just so we understand what's going on at a basic level here, the profiles in our Mercury protocol are the nodes. So if you've got 4 profiles, or 2 profiles, well, how many profiles you have? Say I want to be me, and I also want to be Alphabet, my business, or I want to be transvestite. Our structure will allow you to have those, and for each of those to have independent relationships with other people. And the key here is that privacy is priority, not accessibility, which is different from the other systems. So that's our main technical hurdle, is try to figure out how to get that privacy and still get the discoverability that we want. And right now, that's still largely a conversation amongst the developers on how to approach that problem. So part of the goal of this presentation is to flesh out what we have in terms of ideas, and then get some feedback on whether we're going in the right direction, any pitfalls that we might have completely missed, just ahead of time, before we develop the schema. So essentially we're talking about 3.5 privacy levels or types of interactions. So we've got mobile to mobile, which will obviously be encrypted. And we've got mobile to home, which is me talking to my home, which is also encrypted. But then we've got mobile to home that's unencrypted, which is the ability for the crawler to walk around the network and find pieces of information that those individual profiles have decided to make public, and then give some. So our goal was in the API to provide a crawler that essentially will walk that network, in the same way that a spider walks the web looking for robot text files, if you're familiar with that. So right now, we're basically just starting because we're finishing up the fundamentals for the new profile server. I think we're calling it the home server now. So the next step for us is to actually finalize the graph schema. And that's why it's really timely to have this conversation if we can. Then obviously once we finalize that, then we'll put that in our Alpha SDK when it comes out, and then again redouble that feedback loop. I guess there's nothing really more that I had in the way of slides. I'd like for the rest of this to be a conversation.
Open social graph is a big topic, but yeah, we'd like to hear from you what your expectations are, what your thoughts are on open social graph. What are you expecting from it? Any feedback? Does anyone want to ask or say something on this subject? Raphael?
So, a lot is being talked about social graph, and sometimes people compare with Facebook, and you know that's not actually that. Oh, sorry. How could you explain? We have dApps. Each dApp we create like a database of profile servers, and the social graph can access that information. Is something which will work like that?
It could work that way. I think the idea is that yes, so because it's oriented towards the individual, the crawling has to start with you. So it starts with your profile, and then it walks your relationships to find what it needs. So yes, you could capture that. The app could capture that and store it so that it doesn't have to do that crawling again. And that's obviously an efficient way to handle the data. But there won't be any global storage for us. It's all individual profiles stored on Mercury's home servers on Titanium.
Okay, and we can actually have a dApp like a finder to search if people make profiles public because they want to be found, and or even when I want to build my own dApp, can I try before starting the dApp look for this public profiles to just bring them to my dApp?
Yeah, that's just it. I don't think the idea of a public accessible graph is there.
That's why we are talking mostly about privacy levels here, because if you look at the Mercury Protocol in details, it's quite open to anything. So if we implement something, some application, a malicious user can use it differently, this protocol. So we have, in such a trustless design, we need to design a protocol in a way that it supports many use cases, but discourages or even makes it impossible to use it how the dApp is not designed to be used. Okay, but it's quite open to the given use case. And what we know for sure is that the crawler that we already have for the Titanium map, that you see in map.libertario.world, it's able to enumerate all the profiles all public profiles on those servers, on those home nodes, and it could index those profiles if you give it permission. Okay, so pretty much like how Google works on the internet, you can ask Google not to index some parts of your public data. Okay, it might or might not take that into account. Okay, you have public data, like if you have a link to a Google document on the internet, and only those can view who has this link. Okay, that's kind of building on the trust of those people you send the link to, and the email servers won't use it and so on. So that's that level. But if you want to hide something, you just ask your home server not to expose it publicly. Or you send it encrypted to your home server so that even your home node cannot read it.
So just a quick thought, I think we have some confusion regarding this, because we are talking about two completely different things. One is finding profiles based on public information, and the other thing is crawling the relationship network. And these are two completely different things. You should be able to find any profile based on public information. But we were talking about crawling based on relations. That only makes sense probably for subscriptions and similar public relationships.
Yeah, obviously, anything you make public on an open network, someone will index it. Okay, so we can put a robots.txt on the public relations you put on your profile, but there will be some crawlers that will not take that into account. So the only that's one of the reasons why, by default, we focus first on keeping your relations on your mobile phone and not even putting it on your publicly on your home node. There are some relations which you want to publish, like I've attended this universe and I got a certificate from them. That will be a bidirectional relation. Like I tell that, yeah, I was attending that university, so the university can show on their page that, yeah, I have, I don't know, 30,000 students in my curriculum. On the other hand, I can prove my future employer that I have these certificates from that university. Those I want to publish, but on the dating side, I might not want to publish whom I contacted or whom I did talk to. Still, my mobile phone can keep those relations on in private. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, William. If we can apply the concept of data as labor, can you give me an example how we can implement that with this structure? Data as labor is like, I have my data, but I want to sell it to you, and you're the advertiser, and how is the mechanism going to be?
I could be certified as someone who was born between, I don't know, 70 and 80. I can be certified for that information by some third party. This could be private. And I can use that certification from that trusted entity to apply for watching an advertisement. That's not so. If you think about that, that I'm the target group, I can prove that I am the target group using this.
I think he's asking, how does he monetize semi-public data?
This is the initial.
Thank you, Wiggy. Yeah, this is the initial that we established that you are my target prospect. And the second part will be, as well as Brian saying, how we're going to monetize that, how this is going to be interact with this system, with maybe the IOP wallet and the payment and the structure.
This is free market, so probably there will be these entities popping up. Those who certify users for different purposes, those who will be hubs for advertising. And if I use the same profile every time, then they collect data about me. So that's somehow going back to the current state, which is not for my liking. Probably there will be implementations like that. But we have some ideas how to do it better. But I think it's early to discuss those, where you really just want a token for viewing that single advertisement, which proves that you are the target group.
That's good enough.
Yeah, exactly. So that you still keep your privacy, but you get a share. You know Brave browser?
Yes.
They have this attention token, and so we can turn the notch a little bit up by proving that you are a target group.
Yeah, but on the background.
On the background, how do you link that together with this? Like, is that overly technical?
On one side, this is overly technical. The other is that
It's undefined.
somewhat undefined. You just have architectural ideas, not implementations for such an advertising company. So I think it would be just lots of work to do something. And I'm, as part of the core libertarian team, I'm more interested in how to do it anonymously, so that no one knows that I am Wiggy and I was born in this date range, and I'm a male, and I don't know, have this salary range and so on. If someone could put together that, I think we failed our job to make a really good open social graph. Then we just copy Facebook, and that's not what we want to do. But this is so much work to create such an advertisement agency that I don't want to give yet tips how to do it.
Sorry, I don't want to take the whole discussion, but I don't want to know that you are wiggy. I want to know that you are interested to go on a vacation. Okay, so you are male wanting to go on a vacation. I don't want all the other data. And I am, let's say, a marketer or a company who sells this stuff. So I need to access that information. I'm going to pay you to give me that information. Is that right, or?
You can push this data in my face, and then I wouldn't like that. Or I can have an application on my mobile phone using the Mercury Protocol to look around your advertisement, find one that would suit my. This mobile application could be an agent of me. Okay, that could crawl all the advertisement you have, find one that is matching my target group, create a token for looking at this single advertisement that you have, and in that token prove that I am the target group, and then use of that token on your site, on your service. Okay, does that make sense?
Why would we pay for that? I mean, the question is, in some sense, I think the question is also, we say that these bad guys make profit out of our data. We make it private, we want to have the profit. How do we make profit without giving out ourselves completely? Because he is the target group of wanting to buy that data, for instance.
Yeah, mathematically this is the same as private voting in an election. So that on every election you need to register yourself and so on and so on. And then you still have the proof that you are, I don't know, a Canadian citizen who can vote on this without revealing that you are you. Okay, so this is a similar topic to liquid democracy, or so this whole private advertisement business. And there are really good white papers already out, and we read them and then took those into account, so that if someone has the entrepreneur money and ideas how to implement this, they can implement it using these elements in Mercury. Yeah?
So it sounds like the solution here is not, it's more on for that particular use case is going to be more of a phone-centric thing where the app presents you with a list of choices and you decide which matches you're willing to give them. So you maybe just check, yeah, say you want my name, you want my phone number, and you want my email address, but I'm only willing to give you my name and my email address, or maybe just my email address. And then they would pay you, they'd have rates for each of those things, so you decide, well, yeah, my name's worth 50 cents or whatever.
I think your name's worth a bit more.
I rather doubt that.
Anyway, I'd like to thank you for your presentation, Karin, and also thank you for beginning this fund for jumping in. It's a topic which will need a lot of discussion within the community, and I hope that we will continue this discussion in our online forums, but also when we meet each other during lunch and stuff like this. Once again, thank you for your presentation, Karin.